Hi, I'm Belinda, the creator of Thrive Valley, a place of support, community for the dreamers and doers. Here, you'll be inspired to grow into the best version of you. So let's thrive together. Hello, Paola. Thank you so much for joining us here in Thrive Rally. I'm so glad you're here.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm honored to be part of this project.
Oh, thank you so much. And I think I thanked you so much before we got on, but thank you so much again. This is like a dream of mine to get you on here. I think what you do, and we'll get a little bit about what you do, is so amazing. And, it's all about building community and educating and knowing that bloggers and other entrepreneurs have a community to go to and learn and collaborate. So I love what you're all about. And just in case people don't know what you're all about and what you do, because you do have several online businesses, can you give a little bit of your background and the businesses you have here in the blog and online world?
Of course. I'm so happy to be part of this project. I wanted to put that out there again. But sure. So I kind of a serial entrepreneur. I have a bunch of projects. I have a hard time focusing because whenever I see an opportunity, I kind of want to always go for it. So my main project right now is the Blogger Union, and they are communities of bloggers all over the US and Europe. Right now, we're hoping to be all over the world eventually, where we have monthly educational meetups where members bloggers in all the stages of their journey can get together and learn all the different things you have to learn to be a blogger. It's like incredible the amount of skills you have to develop to be able to have a successful blog.
And it's a lot of hard work, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like everything from like SEO to writing to photography to social media, it's crazy. But we can do it together. And that's what the Blogger Union is all about. It's creating a community of people who are on the same boat as you, trying to figure all this together. And hopefully you can make connections and friends and help each other out. That's what the Blogger Union is all about. And then I have my own personal blogs. I have Coral Gables Love that talks about all the things happening in South Florida. I have my artsy project blog. It's called Dapper Animals, and where I do my paper mache and like more of a lifestyle blog. I also have a blog called Cool Gifting, and it's about gift ideas. Pretty straightforward.
So many.
So, but yeah, my main project is the Blogger Union, and I run. So we have different cities. You can visit us in Houston or Washington, D.C., in Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Minneapolis. You can go to the website to see what cities we have, but I run the Miami chapter.
Okay.
So if you're in Miami, come hang out with us.
Very cool. And Paola, what were your intentions for like starting like the Blogger Union? I know you mentioned a little bit on the website, if you do follow it, thebloggerunion.com. But can you give us a little bit of like what were your intentions in starting the Blogger Union and being a part of that?
Of course. Well, it all started when I quit my corporate job that I had been in the industry for 10 years, and I decided that wasn't really making me happy. So I had always been blogging on the side since around 2007, and I decided, hey, I want to try doing this full time. So I realized very quickly that if you just blog full time, you're going to be home at the computer alone, and it can get very lonely. So I just started the South Florida Bloggers by looking for other bloggers in the area where we could just support each other, whether it's sharing tools, sharing advice, just engaging with each other's content, just trying to spread each other's word around, cross-promoting amongst audiences. And that's really what the intention was always about. We started with 6 people, and then we were like, hey, let's invite anyone who wants to join. And like fast forward 3 years, we have over 3,000 members just in the South Florida area.
Wow. And did you have any experience? Well, I know that like I've seen your background that you started like other communities as well since 2007. Like, did you like, did you know how to start like the business and stuff like that? Did you have businesses prior to starting the blog? Like, did you have
Right.
any experience prior to that?
Yes. So my first really, well, entrepreneurship runs in my family.
Okay.
Every one of my aunts and uncles owns a business.
Okay.
So from very little, we started doing businesses. So like my first business adventure really was with my sister. And we lived in Colombia at a first floor apartment with our windows facing the playground. And what we would do is we would use ice cube trays, and we would, all the leftover juice or hot chocolate or whatever, we'd freeze them and make tiny popsicles and sell them to the kids in the playground.
Oh my God.
But that, that was like, we barely made any money. It was just fun to play, like shop. My first real business project that I took on was with my sister. We opened a designer toy store in 2007 called Pink Ghost. We sold designer toy stores, and we had a storefront in Fort Lauderdale in the Las Olas area. In case anyone's familiar with the area. And that's really where we learned, we have to, create a corporation, and the taxes, and like finding a space for retail, and like buying wholesale. And I really learned how to run a business with that business. So when I started the Blogger Union, it was just like, I already know what to do. I already learned from all of my mistakes with poor Pink Ghost. That one didn't survive, but I think I learned all the lessons from running that business to be able to run this business.
See, and I find that so interesting because a lot of us are so afraid to even start. And not just that, even maybe continue after something doesn't work out. So I find it so amazing. And again, another point here of, hey, I learned from my mistakes here, or I learned so much from here. I'm going to take what I learned and like build it into something else. So that's really amazing.
That's actually a great point. I was so heartbroken when we finally decided to close down Pink Ghost for good. It's like, it was our first venture. Like, you are emotionally invested in this project. But now, that was, I don't know how long ago. It's going to be 20 years soon. Now I'm grateful that that I was able to learn all those things early on and just build off of that. Like, it seems like a failure at the time, but it really isn't. It's just a step in your process, in your journey.
Right. And one of the amazing things that I love about the Blogger Union is you did mention that you have about 3,000 members just in South Florida alone. And I was reading on the site that you actually provide, what's the word? You actually help these bloggers to actually get in front of other brands, or have brands have the right bloggers to show their content. So I was just wondering, like, how do you build your relationships, or how did you even begin working with brands and working with other influencers to be part of your events? Because what I find so amazing is that a lot of these events are mainly free for bloggers to attend and to learn. Some of them do cost, but they're very small costs. But I'm just wondering, like, how do you put that together? How did you even start working with brands? I know it's like 3 questions in one, but that's what I find so amazing, because a lot of people don't know these resources are available to them in their community. And a lot of them are free, which, we have the internet, but I think what's so amazing and what's so important is building community and meeting other people, because I'm a big introvert. And let me tell you, even attending those events, it was so scary for me. I think I tagged my boyfriend along, and I think I even brought my mom, because I was so scared.
That's the best. Yes, you need to do it in a team.
Yeah, because I was just like, okay, I'm like nervous, like I don't know what to expect. So how do you put those events together with the brands, getting the influencers to attend? Like how do you put those events together?
Okay, well, what I was telling you about learning about past mistakes, I started a business in a brand new industry I had never worked with before. So, I had no contacts. I didn't know anybody in the industry. So I had to build those relationships from scratch. And at the beginning, I didn't even know that that's where I was going. At the beginning, I was just running my blog, and it was mainly Coral Gables Love. I was building a ton of relationships with people locally and business owners, just featuring them on my blog and just promoting them. And it was all for free. I wasn't charging anyone for anything. I was just trying to get the blog going and just like share insights in the community. And that really was the first step, building those relationships at the small business level, like small brands, like mom and pop shops around town. And let me tell you, that wasn't easy at the beginning. I was like, I want to share your story. And people were not interested in talking to me.
Oh, wow.
I had some doors get shut in my face quite rudely. And, you know, that's something that you have to get comfortable with when you're starting something new. You're going to get a lot of no's and just, you can't take those personally.
Right.
So I feel like I got this Teflon where I'm used to rejection, because when I had the store, I would go and flyer for our events and for our different things. And like, if you really want to get like thick skin with people telling you no, go hand out flyers. You're going to feel this small really fast. So anyway, so I was used to rejection, and I just kept going. And I at the first, I was like, I'm going to do this full time, but at first I need to build something that's giving back to the community. And so that was my first step. So I met business owners locally in the area. And then those business owners, then when I started doing the South Florida bloggers, the first stage of the Blogger Union, I was looking for places to host the events. And fortunately, I had already built these relationships with these small business owners. So, you know, I had interviewed a gelato place. And they're like, hey, can we hang out at your gelato place and have this weird meeting? And they were like, yeah, sure. And we'll give you some free ice cream or whatever. And you just keep doing that. And you just keep like giving the community and like building those relationships, and like you're kind of both helping each other out. And then people are like, oh, I want to be part of that. And people start reaching out. And I have been very lucky because, as you are, I am also an introvert. So it's very hard for me to go out and like ask for things. So what I was lucky is like, it was all built on like delivering value. So I was like giving value to the business owners. In terms of the community, I was giving education to our members, and members were excited to come and learn. So the key to everything that I have done is that has turned successful is that I'm giving value, you know, tons of value. And that just creates this like organic growth, like people like telling people about things that are cool, that they really are getting something out of. And that, I think, has always been the key for us. So because everyone was looking at this and this was like so cool from every point of view, then people start reaching out to us that, oh, we want to work with you guys. And that really has been helpful for us to learn to work with brands and stuff like that. And that's really how we work with brands. We don't really reach out to brands too much, which I think is going to be eventually one of our future steps. But right now we're working with whoever reaches out to us. So if you want to work with us, go say hello. Send us an email.
That is amazing, because I know that one of the events that I went to, I'm never going to forget, was at Macy's, and I was just like, how do they have an event at Macy's? And then they have like this restaurant here giving us samples. Like, it was like, I just thought it was just so amazing that all of this was put together. And then you have like other like chapter leaders like within the South Florida bloggers, correct? Like officers.
That's right. Yes, we have 3 right now. We have May from Blame It on May. She runs a fashion and travel blog. Nabila Verushka, she runs One Tiny Dinosaur. It's a geek fashion blog. It's really cute. And Street Chic Geek from Jen Shoshan.
Okay.
So yes, we have 3, and they help out so much. I mean, it's kind of a collaborative effort. I can't take credit for the South Florida bloggers. It's simply the 4 of us putting all these events together, and it takes quite a bit of work. So at first it was just me, but we were so small, you know, we were doing smaller things, so it was manageable. But yeah, at this point we definitely, you know, it's definitely, we have the Blogger Union headquarters is that team.
Very interesting. And I think I follow all those ladies as well, because I follow all the influencers here in Miami. But my question to you is, I know that, I've seen online how you guys are like planning stuff for like upcoming meetups and stuff like that. How long does it normally take you guys to plan an event? Let's say like for May, because I know you've already released your information for April. That's next weekend, right? So what do you like, how long does it normally take you to plan those events, let's say for next month?
Well, what we do is we plan the whole year. So
Wow.
because at the beginning it was like from month to month. I was like, we had this event and like, oh my God, what's happening next month? And then it's exhausting.
Yeah.
So we planned the whole month ahead with like what our speakers, our topics, our venues, our, and then we have like a skeleton schedule that guides us. And then we work about like 3 to 4 months in advance, just to, because we can't really work 12 months in advance.
Mm-hmm.
Things change too quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But about 3 to 4 months, we are, double checking all the things that we had already had on our schedule, making sure all our speakers are still on board, everything is still good. And then like, a couple of weeks before the event, we all get together and just make sure we crossed all of our T's and dotted all of our I's.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but yeah, we now work with way in advance, because if not, it's just, it's not manageable.
Right.
Producing 12 events a year.
That's really amazing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That you now have like people coming to you and you're able to plan that far in advance. I think that's so cool.
Oh yes, definitely. This planning in advance thing did not happen overnight. That's for sure.
Good to know. That's really good to know. And you mentioned the different chapters throughout the United States and Europe. Like, what's your relationship with those other chapter leaders? You being behind the Blogger Union. I'm just interested to know about that.
So all the different chapters are chapters of the Blogger Union. And what we do is we kind of coach the leadership from every chapter from the headquarters. Mm-hmm. So we really are kind of, coaching is really the right word for this. So we have constant communication with them, and we oversee everything that they're up to, really. And we just provide any support that they need. So,
okay.
So yeah.
Very interesting, very interesting. And what do you envision for the future of the Blogger Union and the South Florida meetups? Like, is there anything in the works that you guys are working on, or what do you envision for the future?
Well, something that we have been working on is education. I mean, I know we have the monthly meetups, but the meetups are, you learn a ton. Like every time I attend the meetup that I put together, I still learn things. So it's super valuable. But I want to be able to give education more like project-based. We have been having these workshops, but I want to have them more often and offer them as online courses, so that if you're not near a city that has a chapter, you can still get the education that all the other members are getting in those cities. So we want to, that's like a long-term goal. At this point, we're just growing so quickly that we're just trying to deal with the growing pains. But that is definitely a goal for me, that I want to expand our online courses, and I want to, in the cities, offer more workshops, because we've done like, write your About Me page, accounting 101, write your media kit, and like just like affiliate marketing and stuff, where like, because you can go to a meetup and like it's important because you meet other local bloggers and you have that you network, that support. But then sometimes and what it's great, because you leave those meetups inspired to get to work. You want to go get something done. Right. Sometimes you need that guidance of like, okay, I need to get my media kit done, and like it takes forever to do the research, and like what is supposed to go in it, what's good advice, and like someone who's just a pro at it can just sit you down for like an hour and tell you, hey, this is how it works. Any questions related to your specific media kit? So that's something we want to offer, which we have offered, but we want to step that up.
Mm-hmm. Because I noticed you do have about like I think 2 courses like I saw on your site for bloggers. That's really cool. So you're just wanting to expand more to a broader audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just offer more, courses. So that if, especially for the members, because we do have several members who are not near one of our cities, so that they can still get that value.
Awesome. Well, Paola, thank you so much. Those were a lot of the questions that I had in regards to the Blogger Union. Again, if you are not part of if you've not been part of their events, I definitely recommend you attend because they're really great and it's a great opportunity to meet other bloggers and just to really expand and get ideas for your own blog and stuff like that. That's what I love about it so much. But you did mention that you do have all these different websites, you have all these things that you're working on. What does your day-to-day look like? Like how do you have a routine in place, and like are certain days for different websites? I'm interested to know like what does your routine look like to handle all of your businesses?
Oh, you're right. So that's a good question. I have good habits and I have really bad habits. So one of my bad habits is that I wake up in the morning with my phone next to my bed and I immediately go to social media, and that's something I want to stop doing because it kind of sets a weird tone for your day. So that's something I'm working on. But a lot of our members and my business revolves around social media, so it's like a weird balance you have to figure out. Right. But I don't really have a set schedule because my days are very strange. Like someday I might be speaking at a conference or attending a conference, and other days are just planning for meetups. But what I do have is a system of batching. So I have all of these projects in the pipeline, and I separate days into batches of things that I have to do. So like one day is just photography editing. I spend the whole day editing photos for all of my sites and uploading them to the different places or whatever. I have another day where it's just writing, because I feel like we waste time switching our mindset from one task to another or bouncing back and forth. But like especially writing, for me writing doesn't come like that easily. Even being a blogger and all of the writing that I do. So once I have the juices flowing, I'm like, oh, I can write and write and write. So I kind of take advantage of that. So I have a writing day, I have a planning day, I have a photography day, and I just have days like that. And that's how I work. And every day I do all of my planning and organization is through my email. And I actually just installed a new Chrome extension called Streak that I'm trying out because it has a little bit of project management side to it. But yeah, everything is through my email. Like all of our leads and everything happens through my email. So first thing in the day is like catching up with my email. Because if I don't have my email under control, things were going to start slipping through the cracks. Right. So those are kind of the systems that I have in place.
Awesome. And like, I'm just interested to know, like, do you have any like constant resources that you always go back to, whether it be reading, podcasts to kind of get you inspired, or was there anything in your past that kind of pushed you to be like, okay, I need to quit my corporate job and I need to work on this because this is my passion? I'm just interested because the book for me that really changed my life and made me realize that I wanted to be part of this online world was Jen Sincero's book, You're a Badass. That book changed my life. So
I have to read that book.
Amazing. I highly recommend it. I was just interested to know, like, is there anything that you always fall back to, or was there anything that inspired you to kind of go ahead and take that step to being an entrepreneur?
Well, early in my Blogger Union phase, I read a book by Elizabeth Gilbert called Big Magic. That's a big one. And it really puts fear into perspective. So I really love that book. And when I read it, I was like, everybody, you need to read this book. So I recommend that book.
Yes, I read that one. It's really good.
Oh, you like
I love
okay.
Introvert. Yeah, I'm obsessed with audiobooks. Ever since I read that book from Jen Sincero, I think I listen to, because really cool. I think I listen to about 3 books a month because I'm so
Oh,
obsessed.
wow.
And it's not that. Also, podcasts. I'm obsessed with podcasts. Do you listen to podcasts?
Not that
No.
many. The thing is, I don't have that much of a commute, so it's hard for me to sit down and listen to something. So
Mhm.
I prefer reading. So I prefer reading articles online. I also read a lot of books. So
Cool, cool. Well, Paola, my last question for you my last question for you is, what is your number one advice to anyone that's interested in starting maybe like a business or maybe something similar to yours? What's your number one advice for someone that's wanting to go ahead and step into the entrepreneurial world, but is kind of scared? I'm just wondering what your number one advice to that person would be.
Okay. Can I give 2 advices?
Yes, you can.
2 pieces of advice.
Yes.
So the first one is, don't be afraid to fail. I feel like just that fear of failing just stops us from even trying to do things.
Mm-hmm.
And what we don't realize is that failure is the way we learn from, we learn from our mistakes, and that's how we're able to grow and like build things. So this hasn't been a road of rainbows that got me to where I am today. It's been a lot of like trying things, and this didn't work out. And when it doesn't work out, it's what makes you look back, gives you that humility to take a step back and see, okay, why did this not work out? Right. So just not being afraid to fail and seeing your failures or your mistakes as learning experiences. And that also takes a little bit of that fear away. It's like, if this doesn't work out, it might not feel great, but I'm going to learn from it, and it's not the end of the world.
Right.
And number 2, everything that I have done has revolved around delivering genuine value. So if you can give people something that really benefits them, or, you're answering a problem for them, then that's where it is. That's where for me, the key to success has been that, knowing what people's pain points are, or just giving them something that they didn't even know they needed, but something genuine that they are truly getting something out of. If you are able to find that value, then it should. I mean, you're still gonna make mistakes, but it should that should be your guiding force, and it should grow organically because you have that piece in.
Right. I love that. So it's not just about you building yourself, but also about serving others, and I find that so important as well, which is why I created this series. So hopefully I'll help others to be inspired and start their own thing. So I agree fully.
I'm glad. I'm actually excited to see the rest of your interviews to see how I can learn from them too.
Thank you. Well, Paola, thank you so much again for being part of this series. You gave really great advice and inspiration, that it's really all about doing and just, making, just building relationships with others and doing just what feels right and just growing from there. I think what's really important that you mentioned is that, you started out with those mom and pop shops and you started to like grow and grow and grow. But for someone like me has no patience, sometimes it's kind of hard because I see someone like you that for me, you're big in the internet world. I'm not gonna lie. Like, oh my God, like how does she do this? And she has all these great, speakers, and how does she have these events here? But you never stop and think like, okay, she didn't start from there. She started small and look at where she is now. She could just continue to go and grow. So I think that's really good feedback for anyone that's really listening, that you just have to start somewhere. And, as you continue along, you'll get to where you want to be. And like, you still have goals and you want to implement all these different things for your businesses. So I just find that so valuable, and hopefully someone like me that has no patience will realize that slow and steady is important. That's something that I'm trying to learn.
Absolutely. It's always been slow and steady for me. when I give people advice or just my story, you know, I can't give you the quick and easy because that was not my story. You know, it's just been, you're absolutely right, slow and steady, and you'll see results. And also, right when you feel like giving up, it's probably, if you would just hold on a little longer, you're going to start seeing results. It feels like right when I was like, oh my God, I can't, you know, why am I doing all this? And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, you start to see the results. So even when you think like you're just spinning your wheels, just hang in there, because eventually you'll see your results.
Awesome, Paola. Again, thank you so much for being a part of this. I appreciate you so much. I'm sure this interview would be really valuable to others that are listening that are wanting to start a business or wanting to start a blog. I can't wait to see the different courses that you have available on your site and the upcoming events. How can others find you online?
Okay, if you want to become a member of the Blogger Union, it's easy. Just check out thebloggerunion.com. And click on register. It's free, and then you'll get notifications for the city nearest to you about local events and happenings. If you are in the Miami area and want to know what's happening in South Florida, check out coralgableslove.com.
Perfect. Well, Paola, thank you so much again. I appreciate you, and I hope you have a great Sunday.
Thank you for having me. You too.
Bye.
Bye.